Brenda Johnson. Why is that name so familiar? Is it because it's a common name, or have we worked together? Anyway, okay. Sorry. I just got in. I've just been doing banking. And if anyone's like me, I hate doing banking stuff. It's just, here's your access code. Here's your online information code. And here's what's I'm just setting something up. Oh, what a nightmare. And then I had to download my app on my phone for my banking. Whew. Oh, thank God some young guy at the bank was able to help me. Tell you, it's a struggle. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, and I'm just here to answer your questions. So if you look in the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. You have to email me for coaching because I can't take everyone on these days. So just let me know if you want to work with me and why. Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions. This is one of my unscheduled lives. It's Friday afternoon after school here on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast. And then around dinner time on the East Coast. So I'm thinking it's going to be slower. Just fine by me. It's the only time today I've had to do this. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Had a busy day. Okay. Trinidad Bello. What a nice name. Trinidad Bello. I like that. Okay. Questions? Any questions? If not, I'll just move on to Instagram because I'm on, oh, there we go. Okay. I was going to say I'm on YouTube at the same time. So if a 3.5-year-old constantly trying to get out of bed once bedtime routine is done and books are over, she doesn't care. Okay. I won't read on. Anyway, I have a whole course on that. It's called Bedtime Battles, and it's how to get them in bed. That's the easy part. And then part 2 is how to keep them there. It's difficult. It's usually one night of hell. Just warning you, but it's worth it. You know, everyone wants everything to be easy. It's not, but it's, do you want to drag it out, or do you want to make it really difficult for the short term? I always say short-term pain for long-term gain. If you're interested in that course, check it out. It's a whole system, how you do it. But yeah, it's difficult. It's usually only one really bad night. Would you rather that or the next few years that aren't quite as difficult? You know what I mean? See, I'd rather get it over and done with. I really appreciate all this because it's been insightful. Great. You know what's funny is I get a lot of people who don't even have kids who turn up. I don't know why. I get emails all the time. I don't even have any kids and I watch you. Can't quite figure that out. I don't know why. Anyway, thought that was funny. I guess if you're planning on having kids one day, then it might be helpful. Maybe that's why. Okay, so any questions? No, I won't bother yabbering on. I was just going to complain about something. I got an attempt at hacking on my banking. The whole bank, everything was shut down. My business, all my personal accounts were shut down 2 weeks ago. Everything was just, thank God they shut it down. Oh, some people are wiped out. It was done on Facebook Marketplace. So, yeah. It's not Facebook's fault, but anyway, it's my fault. I did enter a code in, whatever. Stupid me. Okay, I operate a daycare, so I can always learn something new. Excellent. You know, daycare, schools, that it's not everything is transferable because I teach parenting, which is personal. It's different. It's not a business. It's personal, right? But some of the stuff does cross over. So, and if you're a daycare person, worker, you know what you can use and what you can't use, right? Like a lot of stuff you can use. Anyway, she also tends to scream and cry when she doesn't get her way. Is this the bedtime one? Yeah, here's the thing. Okay, well, you might want to check out my boot camp course that has bedtime battles in it. Does it? Geez, I better check. I'm sure it would. It must. Anyway, I'll double check. If not, it will be in there. Bedtime battles. It has to be in there. Just a sec. In boot camp. The thing is, even just the bedtime battles course, that's one of my little mini toddler courses, it sort of exercises your leadership. You're sort of in charge. Once you master something like bedtime, they're more likely to listen to you with other stuff. So it could actually help you that way. Plus, you've got the free behavior board. Between the free behavior board and the bedtime battles course, that might be all you need. But the boot camp course kind of has everything, and it has to have bedtime battles in it. Anyway, I can't imagine doing that without putting it in there. But anyway, I will double check. Or if I forget, I shouldn't. I wrote it down. Anyway, if I forget, let me know. If you buy it and it's not in there, let me know. Anyway, but yeah, once you master something and you're sort of in charge of something, the other stuff usually gets easier. Use the behavior board. That's completely free. And that starts at the age of 3. Your child's 3.5. So, you know, the problem is that if you're afraid of a fit or a scene or a tantrum, your children are in charge. And boy, do they know it. So I've never been afraid of that. To me, it's like, bring it on. That's my opportunity to exercise my leadership. A tantrum, a fit, or a scene, or a meltdown is them processing hearing the word no and not liking it. The sooner they learn that they can't always get their own way, the better. So never be afraid of a fit, scene, or a tantrum, or a meltdown, whatever you want to call it. I know someone once said to me, oh, a tantrum and a meltdown are 2 completely different things. I'm like, kidding me? Okay, who cares? It's funny how people will argue about the dumbest little things, like, what difference does it make? Just struck me as funny. Is that all they got to argue about? Okay. Just waiting for more questions. I'm also on YouTube at the same time. I've only got 1 person on there. YouTube's my smallest platform. It's a slow burn one. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube. But yeah, so, and Facebook's picking up on these lives now. It used to be my slowest live, but it's getting busier. The reason I told you the size of my followers is because those are my slower platforms. If you're on there, I'm more likely to answer your questions because there's not as many people on there, right? Instagram and TikTok lives can get pretty crazy. Okay, I have 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and almost 3-year-old. Wow. Oh, so you got 3 boys. Shoot, just a sec here. The 4-year-old has extreme ADHD, is very impulsive, screaming, blah, 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 and everything. Advice on that. Okay, so you've got a 4-year-old with, you said, like high ADHD. Anyway, those are all the kids I learned all this with. The more hyperactive they are, or the more feisty they are, the more important it is for you to be a calm leader. That's all I teach is calm leadership. Check out my boot camp course. You got 3 little boys. That might be a good thing for you. It goes from the age of 3 to 12 years old, and it's all about you and your leadership. It's never about the kids. Remember, we're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. You lead, they will follow. Between the ages of 3 and 12, that's when you're at the height of your leadership skills. You lead, they will follow. They desperately need, crave, and want a leader. If you don't provide that for them, they're going to go out in the world very vulnerable. They're going to be very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the internet, drug dealers, and the Kardashians. They're going to be very susceptible to any outside influence because they're going to go out searching for a leader because they don't have one at home. If they have one at home, they come back and they tell you everything. They run everything by you. That's how it works. Right through the teen years. I specialize in teenagers. They're my favorite age by far. But yeah, you get all this cemented when they're young and you'll sail right through those teen years. Things shift and change, but with the teens, but still, if you've got that mutual respect going when they're younger, I'm trying to set you up for those teen years. Because if you do have problems with them, and they are big problems, they can be real nasty problems with teenagers. The bigger the kids, the bigger the problems, right? Recently started using behavior board, and it is helping some. Excellent. The behavior board, really, it's all about you. Everything's about you. And parents often say when I'm coaching them, they say, okay, so we've got 1 rule in week 1. What about all the rest of the stuff they're doing wrong? I'm like, so? All you're doing is learning how to be a leader, 1 rule at a time. And week 2, we have 2 rules. Now you're working on 2 different rules. I would go in and deal with everything in day 1, but I'm level 10 with what I teach. You're learning. You're level 1, 2, 3, etc. By level 3, especially in the course, the boot camp course, by week 3 and 4, you're starting to get it. And then you're kind of going like this. You're learning how to be a leader, and then it just kind of goes like that because you go, oh, I get it. Once you get it, it gets so much easier. I have so many clients who in week 3, I had a week last week, I think it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was client after client. They were all week 3. It was really funny. And they all turned up like this. They were just getting it. It was so rewarding. They were just getting it. And they were so empowered. And they said, now I'm hoping they act out because I know what I'm doing. Good for you. I love that. Okay. Hi, Lisa. My 2 girls do not like the stroller. They are 1 and 2 years old. So they're going to get in there anyway. It doesn't matter what they like or don't like. You have to do what's good for them. You meet their needs and manage their wants. That's managing their wants. they don't want to be in there, but they have to be in there. Also, you got to meet their needs though. If they're just in the stroller and you're at home and that, they need to go to the park and race around and just be kids. I was going to say roll around in the mud, but you don't want that. But you know what I'm saying. So you have to meet their needs too. They need to get out and just sort of blow off some steam. So I used to, if I was taking my kids somewhere, like if we were going out to a restaurant or something, and my kids were really little and they were really well behaved, but I knew I got to meet their needs first. We'd take them to the park and race them around the park for a while first. Then we'd go to the restaurant. Plus I always had crayons and stuff for them, coloring stuff for them to do. So you got to meet their needs and manage their wants. If you're meeting their needs, managing their wants is easier. And plus it's fair and reasonable. I don't think kids should be obedient little soldiers. You got to meet their needs. Then you can manage their wants. Okay. My almost 3-year-old is confused. He will scream at me, it's time to take a nap, and then we go down and he yells and he doesn't want to nap, so I'll give up and he throws a huge fit. Okay, he's almost 3 years old. Both my kids stopped regular napping at the age of 12 months old. They had a lot of accidental naps, but they didn't do regular naps past the age of 1. So maybe your child doesn't need naps. I'm just suggesting that. Maybe they still do, maybe they don't. Yeah, and obviously he's in charge. He's like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. He's seeing how much can he make you run around. It's he's sort of in charge. Check out my boot camp course. That might be for you. It's all about you and your leadership skills. Set yourself up as a leader, and that wouldn't happen. Started my behavior board. It's helped so far, learning how to be a leader. Good for you. That's completely free, the behavior board. And so is all this. This is all free stuff. I know most people either can't afford to hire me or don't want to hire me or don't want to buy a course. That's fine. I got a lot of free stuff out there that you can still get results, okay, for free. So that behavior board, that's free. It always has been. And a lot of parents get really good results just doing that. So you know what, though? I just tell you what to do or give you suggestions. You're the one who does the work. I always say this to coaching clients. They always want to give me credit for how they're doing. And I say, no, I'm just telling you what to do. You're the one doing it. You're the ones doing the work. So pat yourself on the back. Parenting's hard work. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sibling rivalry and jealousy. How do you handle that? I have 3 girls, 12, 10, and 6. Okay. I don't know your situation. It can be a little bit awkward. Actually, check out the boot camp course, see if it's for you. It does have sibling rivalry as one of the sections in there. But anyway, here's what you do. So you've got kids who don't get along. A lot of parents make the mistake of doing one-on-one time with each child, thinking that that's going to fill their needs, fill their bucket, and then they're going to get along because they're not going to be, well, she gets more attention than I do. You're actually making it worse. What you want to do is you don't do one-on-one time. It builds resentment, builds hate. You do fun stuff with the kids and you play to the weakest link. You play to the 6-year-old. Just do fun, stupid stuff. Just play Pictionary or stuff that's not really competitive, but just fun and goofy. So look up goofy things or fun things to do with kids, activities, games, whatever. And what happens is they're usually better at all that stuff than you are. I used to do like Olympics with my kids. Let's hop around the house on 1 foot. Well, of course, I'm in my 30s or whatever. Of course, I'm going to be worse at it than they are. So they always won. And they always bonded. Like they're 5 years apart, my 2 kids. They're a boy and a girl. What did they have in common? Laughing at mom. So it builds family unity. And then you're teaching them how to get along. A lot of parents just teach them what not to do. Big mistake. You're not just teaching children what not to do. You're teaching them what to do. So by playing as a family unit, you're teaching them how to get along. And they'll bond from laughing at you. That's what your role is, to be laughed at. I told my kids that. They used to laugh at me all the time. I said, well, that's my job. It's supposed to be laughed at when we're playing games, right? So yeah. Oh, I just answered that. It's Bailey asked me about, but you have an autistic child? That is only in coaching. I don't discuss autism outside of coaching. It's only coaching. So if you want to work with me, you'd have to email me. Check it out. The link above has everything I've got in my business. And I don't have my 1 or 3 session packages anymore. I'm super busy these days. And I know the reason why I got rid of those is the best results I can get you is 5. That's why my boot camp course is 5 weeks, 5 sessions, 3 behavior boards. Then we go off the behavior board and do in the moment discipline. So I got rid of the other sessions. It's more rewarding for me because I hated having 1 session with a client. I hated it every single time because I think I never got to check in with them. I like the follow-up. So how's it going? I never got that. Sometimes they'd hire me, obviously, again, but still, I got rid of all that. So, and I can't take everyone on these days either. So you have to email me if you want to work with me. Okay. Would love help for my sensitive 9-year-old girl tolerating her bullshit, bossy, I guess, 5-year-old sister, 9-year-old girl, but well, I don't understand. You want help with the 9-year-old girl tolerating her bullshit. It's the sister you got to work with. The 5-year-old is who I would work with. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not. It's more the 5-year-old. Yeah, I don't quite know what you mean by that, but anyway. What can I do for my only child so he gets interaction and social skills? Just get him out in activities, get him to join things. I had my kids, I had a rule. You only have to join one thing every semester or term or whatever at school. But you have to try everything. So I put them in everything. And my son even did theater. He hated that. My daughter loves all that. She's a joiner. My son's more like me. We're not really joiners. But yeah, so I made them try everything, but then they had to join something. But it was varied. Like it could be like art classes. Look up, see what they like to do. Like, your child, what they like to do. And there's all sorts of things out there for kids. I started my kids when they were babies in, what's that called? Gymboree, is that what it's called? Yeah, I did that. And then swimming lessons as babies. So I always had my kids out doing stuff. And also and my kids are 5 years apart. So my son was an only child for 5 years. But every single day from the time he was up on his feet, or even as a baby, he was in swimming lessons, gymboree, play groups. Every day we had something going on. And then every single day when he was up on his feet, we went to the gym. So he went in the gym daycare every single day while I worked out. So yeah, you don't need to have more. They can be very social kids as only children, but you've got to, make that happen. Love your content. I have so many things I would like to see change, and I've just been lazy. I saw your post about jumping into the pool in the first interaction. It helped flip a switch for me. Good for you. You got to be ready to take in this stuff too. Like a lot of parents are listening. I'm like that, by the way. I watch stuff with business and all that, and I'm just not ready for it. It's when you're ready for it that it helps. That you go, yeah, I get it. It's not going to work if you're not ready for it. You got to be receptive, and you got to have the energy for it too. But I'll tell you something. It's worth it in the long term. It's short-term pain. Getting respect with children, it's work. You got to earn that. No, they're not going to hand it to you on a silver platter. You got to work for that. But then getting respect is hard work. Maintaining it is a piece of cake. It's very worth it. It just is. Oops. Okay. Hi, Lisa. I just discovered your page yesterday and appreciate your tips. I have a 2-year-old girl who will be 3 next month. Okay. Do you have advice for helping with listening and following directions, and how long should I wait before? Okay. You don't repeat instructions. You say something once and then you take action. Anyway, check out, she's almost 3. You can use the behavior board if she's almost 3 next month. Check that out. That's completely free, or you can get the boot camp course. Yeah. Set yourself up as a leader. They listen. If you lead, they will follow. When you're a leader, they look up to you. They want to please you. Because leaders, the way I teach, my goal is to make kids feel great when they're with me. I want their self-esteem to be up here when they're with me. They like themselves when they're with me. Now, if you feel like $1 million when you're with someone, how would you treat that person? Think about it. That's what I do. I don't want obedient soldiers here. I work on their self-esteem. When they're with me, my goal is that they like themselves. Right? I'm the source of that. How do you think they treat me as a leader, as a mentor? Would they be rude to me? Would they be disrespectful? No. This stuff just works. It just works. I've worked with hundreds of kids, and I never once ever worked with an easy kid. No one ever said, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. Teenagers, toddlers, didn't matter. They were always challenging, right? Behaviorally challenging. And, but yeah, I always got respect. Was it them or me? Set yourself up as a leader, make them feel good about themselves, and they will want to please you. It's just the way it works. Once you get that, you connect that in your brain, you go, yeah, I remember I had a teacher I loved. I would never be rude to them. It's like that. You can be friends with your kids. You should be fun. I lead with fun and humor. That's how I connect with kids. Look up the video on example of leadership parenting. It is my favorite video I've ever done. And I think I did it last week. And it's the pool story. The pool story is a true story. And it's not even about me and my kid. It's about me and another kid. It epitomizes, it explains how I look toward leadership. It explains everything in a nutshell. So check that out. It was just last week, I think, called the pool story. I don't do my social media. I don't know how many videos come out. So it might not be 7 ago. It might be 21 videos ago. I don't know. But it just went up last week. Example of leadership parenting is what it's called. Okay, I got to get going. I got to move over to Instagram now, but I will be on YouTube the whole time. Whenever I'm doing a live, I'm on YouTube the whole time, but then I jump from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok while I'm still on YouTube. And all of my lives are saved on YouTube. Okay, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. You got to send me an email to do that these days. I'm really busy. I can't take everyone on. So thanks so much. Happy parenting. Sorry, YouTube, I've just got to push button after button here now. So a lot of buttons to push. Instagram, make sure I'm on the right account. Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions on YouTube, I'll answer those. Hello, just waiting for people to turn up. Okay, hello. Instagram's funny. It's the only one where people turn up in a clump altogether. None of the other platforms are like that. People filter in, but yeah, it's like you all live together and you all hit go. I don't know why that is. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something funny. I talked about it yesterday. It was just a funny story. I had this client yesterday, and so they were saying their 8-year-old daughter didn't want the behavior board anymore. So she said to them, she's 8. She said to her parents, she goes, "You guys are great parents. You don't need that woman." And then she tore the behavior board off the wall. I've never heard that before. I've never heard of a kid buttering up the parents to get rid of me. I thought that was very sly, very clever. I love that. God, I love what I do. It's just fantastic. Anyway, the parents we were just cracking up. They said I could share that. Obviously, I don't give names out. Okay. Can you give alternatives to media blackout? Yep. Okay. Teacher in love. Oh, you're a teacher. And I wish all parents did this. Yeah, I don't teach teaching. Are you asking me about teaching? Yeah, I don't do that. I don't know anything about it. If I had to get up and teach, I think I'd soil myself. Yeah, I couldn't do it. So I only teach parenting. So I'm just clarifying. If you're asking about students, I don't do that. But huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists. But they hire me, supposedly. They've told me later on they were hiring me about clients or students. But they hire me for parenting. It's different. You know, parenting is very different from what they do. I couldn't do what they do. And there's no PhD in parenting. I mean, it's personal. It's different from any other relationship. So yeah, that's all. I stay in my lane. I've spent years up the back of classrooms supporting teachers. I have a pretty good idea what goes on in class and what I would do. But it's not my specialty. So, okay, I had asked on Facebook. Oh, you're come over from Facebook about how would you recommend removing a pacifier from my child? Oh gosh, I'll tell you what I did with my son. How to remove a dummy from a child, pacifier, soother, whatever you want to call it, binky, whatever. My son was 18 months old, and I let him have that pacifier a lot longer than I wanted. But we were traveling from Australia, where we lived, to Canada to visit my family, and there was no way I was going to take that dummy away from him before that trip. I wanted that dummy to shove in his face on that airplane, right? So anyway, so I let him have it the whole trip. We get home. I had jet lag. My husband went back to work. I had jet lag. My son had jet lag. Now he's 18 months old. I said to him, "No more dummies. You're a big boy. Look, I got you a sippy cup so you can have this." I gave him something else to do. So he's like, you know what they're like. They're just, yeah, okay. They don't really get it. But anyway, so I had him help me. We put all the dummies in a little baggie, and then I picked him up and I had him hold the baggie, and we went outside, opened up the lid to the wheelie bin, and I said, okay, bye-bye dummies. They're all gone because you're a big boy. And you know, they're not really, I mean, they're kind of listening, but it was more the action. Toddlers are not about words, they're about action. So he remembered those dummies going in that bin. He knew. Now I had to do that. I'm the leader, the dad was the pleaser. There's usually one leader and a pleaser in the family. Nothing wrong with that. It works really well. But anyway, so if dad had done that, it might have gone differently because he knew dad would be more likely to give in, and he might even fish out those dummies. He knew once mom said something, it was going to happen. Anyway, he never asked for one dummy, not once, not ever. Every so often he'd go like this, and then he'd look over at me like looking for a dummy, and I would look away really quickly. I would never get eye contact with him if he was looking for a dummy. He never asked for one once. Now, he had tantrums. They either do or they don't. I was convinced. I don't know what happened. He just never had a tantrum. I was convinced it would be absolute hell, and it never was. So, you know, but you got to make it final. Don't have dummies in bed at night. It's confusing. And then you can have it at night, but not during the day. That's the inconsistency that children don't understand. That's like if you let a child walk beside the stroller one day, but the next day you don't, you can't figure out why they had a tantrum. It's because you just trained them that you don't know what you're doing. You're inconsistent, right? So you got to be consistent with toddlers. They don't understand exceptions. Anyway, good luck with that. I think I lucked out with my son. Yeah, I know you got a notification I was starting, but everyone does on all the other platforms too. But on Instagram, everyone turns up in one clump. Doesn't happen anywhere else. I don't know. I can't figure it all out. All the algorithms and everything. Okay, sorry, I had to scroll ahead because people come and go, and too many questions were coming in. Okay, well, not too many, but I can't get to them all. Almost 3-year-old screaming and running away when it's time for a bath. Okay, so if it's time for a bath, there's so many different ways I could address this one. Let me think. Anyway, I want to tell you a method how to deal with that, but basically work on your leadership skills. Check out the boot camp, not the boot camp, Chris. Well, you can check that out too, but just check out the behavior board, and you put down follow a bedtime routine. And one of those is the bath, right? So yeah, if they don't get in the bath and they take off, then there might be a consequence for that. You don't discipline at night, but you could say, you can have it on the board and you say, follow bedtime routine, and a bath is one of those. And then the next day you say, that didn't go very well. Remember you took off? Getting you in the tub wasn't easy. So then you have the discipline, the consequence the next day. You never discipline at night. Someone asked about nose picking. It depends on the age. Depends on the age. Okay. My kid is good at school. Do you have it, but not at home? Do you have any general help for what I can do differently to gain respect? That just says to me that the teacher is a leader and you're not. Work on your leadership skills. You can start with the behavior board. That's completely free. It's all in the link above. Get the behavior board. The next level up is the boot camp course. That's 5 weeks. It's all about you and your leadership. Remember, we're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. So, okay. Someone asked me a question on YouTube, so I'm going to read that. Yeah, okay, good one. This is from Rochelle. Sibling jealousy between the 3-year-old and the 7-month-old. Are we supposed to play with both of them together when the games are so different like that? Because what I had said earlier on Facebook was that when you've got sibling rivalry, that's not sibling rivalry when you've got a baby, by the way. Okay, a baby's not rivaling. Okay, so it's different. And I always say you never do one-on-one time with kids. It builds resentment. Like if they're not getting along, it builds resentment. But if you've got a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old, that's just the 3-year-old. Okay. Oh, it's just jealousy. Yeah, you can't really do much with that. They're just going to get used to it. It's a transition thing. So set yourself up as a leader. They don't tend to be jealous because a leader meets their needs. A lot of their needs are playing with you. So you might want to check out the boot camp course with this one if you're really concerned, or just try the behavior board and just start with one rule, start your leadership skills. Don't worry about what the rule is. And you never put anything attitude-based. You can't discuss getting along with your 7-month-old child, but you just put something else on there. The stronger you are as a leader, the less likely all the other behaviors are going to be an issue. It's just the way it is. Any advice for the other when the other parent doesn't follow the behavior board? Leave them off of it. If they're real, and you know, I get people from all over the world. And sometimes I have to deal with people who the father says, as the head of the house, in our culture, there's no way I would be accountable. Like a father would not be on the board. And I have to work with that. And I respect, by the way, I respect that because I'm more North American, Australian, but in different cultures, the father will not be on that board. And so I have to work with that. And I say, totally respect that. I get that. So we'll just work with the mom then or whatever. Do you know what often happens? Is the one who is on that board, because a lot of it is playing with the kids and bonding with them, the father will sometimes decide to go on there because he sees the relationship getting better and better between the mother and the father, but the mother and the kids. You see how that works? They get kind of jealous. Oh, I see. The board makes you the leader and the kids they're more bonded with the leader generally. They love you both, but they're more connected to the leader. The leader's the one they tell everything to. The leader's the one they feel safe with. The leader's the one that they want to play with all the time. So yeah, just leave the other parent off the board and they'll get jealous. I have not once or twice, a few times now, I'll just work with the mom because dads are fixers. I always say when they have to hire me, if they can't fix their family, dads often don't want to hire me because it's kind of like I'm a bit of a kick in the nuts, right? That's the way they view it. Like they can't fix their family and then I kind of, they just don't like it. And I get it. Men are fixers. Anyway, they don't want to work with me. And I get that. So I just work with the mom. Do you know how many dads on the back end, behind the mom's back, after they see the relationship the mom's getting with the kids, they'll hire me on the sly without the mom's knowledge because they want that same relationship. Anyway, it's quite cute. I love what I do. Okay. How can you tell if it's discipline or learning disability, having issues with it? You have to hire me for that. I'd have to assess that. I can't tell you how to assess that. And even then, I'm not qualified to assess that. I probably would be able to figure it out. But, go to a doctor and you have to go to a pediatrician. Or you can hire me. I no guarantee I can figure it out. I have 0 degrees, I just have a lot of experience. But yeah. But if you set yourself up as a leader and you're a leader and they're still not listening, then you might want to, there's so many different tells and signals and stuff. But yeah, you go to a doctor to assess that. Oh, did I answer all your questions? Oh, good. Okay. I do my best to get as many as possible, but what's the pool story video on YouTube? I was trying to find it. It's not called the pool story. It's called Example of Leadership Parenting. And it is the pool story. Probably should have renamed that actually, because everyone seems to know the pool story. Anyway, I don't do my videos. So yeah, I think it's called Example of Leadership Parenting. It's my favorite video I've ever done. It's not my biggest, I get like millions of views on some of them. And I often think, why would anyone want that one? But I can never figure out what's going to, go viral. But that one didn't, but I wish it had, because that's my absolute favorite video. It's Example of Leadership Parenting. I just did it last week. I don't know how many videos are posted. I don't do that myself. I have no idea what's done. I just throw that off to someone else. And so I don't know how many videos back it is, but it's called Example of Leadership Parenting. I think if you just put in Bratbusters Leadership Parenting, it might come up. Well, you're asking me something. How can I help my 6-year-old to stop picking his nose? Generally does it at bedtime. If he's got a clean house, you know what I mean? Like, I don't quite know what you mean by that. Why is that an issue? If he's got a 6-year-old son, he's got to pick his nose to clean house before bedtime. Does he do it like in public? I would say, there's nothing wrong with picking your nose, but it's private. It's like going to the bathroom and, it's private. So that's what I would say. You don't want to shame him though. You don't want to shame a kid with stuff like that. Oh, you said your son is nonverbal and doesn't eat solids. Please help. That would be, I don't know how old he is. Probably more of a pediatrician doctor thing. See what I mean? Eating solids, that's not me. I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so that's not me at all. You have to go to a doctor for that. My son is 4 and has a hard time listening and following directions at home and at school. Teacher says he's in timeout a lot. He just screaming for a leader. Set yourself up as a leader. That wouldn't happen generally. Yeah. Anyway, check out my boot camp course. That's in the link above. And that is, it's all about you and your leadership. You lead, they will follow. Children need, crave, and want a leader. Do you know every single teenager I've ever worked with has said to me, I wish my parents had been tougher on me growing up. They don't use those exact words, but they equate discipline, leadership with love. They don't want it now, by the way. They don't want discipline now, but they know that they were missing out, and that's why they're going astray. This is when teenagers are really going astray. They identify that. They actually all say it in various ways. They all say it. Yeah, my parents didn't love me enough to discipline me. That's what they're saying. Isn't that interesting? They equate discipline with love. Advice for I get it, but a lot of people don't get that. Advice for being around other kids whose parents are into gentle parenting. Well, I don't know. It's none of your business how other people parent. I just suck it up and don't say a word. That's none of my business. Oh God, you got the seam of a sweater. It keeps bugging me. Anyway, yeah. Like I'm a grandmother now. It's none of my business how my kids parent. That's their kids. None of my business. Like what you're saying is, how do you tell other people how to live? Yeah, I don't do that. My daughter, 4-year-old, has a way of annoying everyone. Like she will annoy his mom, dad's cousin. She will take pleasure out of annoying people around. I don't know what you mean by that. You might even want to look into hiring me for that. I have no idea. Like for coaching, I have no idea what you mean by that. She goes out of her way to annoy people. There could be so many different reasons for that. But I don't know. I'd have to assess that. Like I can't possibly answer that because there's too many variables. So yeah. Yeah, you're asking me about grandparenting and eating. I don't discuss either of those. Like I don't discuss grandparenting. I only teach parenting. My 2-year-old's been biting. Oh, 2-year-old's been biting for over a year. Yeah, check out my course. It's called Toddlers Who Bite, Hit, Etc. It's something like, it's the worst name for a course, but it's one of my mini toddler courses. Toddlers Who Hit, Bite, Etc. Something like that. Check that out. How do I hire you? If you want to hire me, I can't take everyone on anymore. I'm really busy. I've only got the 5 sessions now because that's where I get the best results. So anyway, so yeah, you just have to send me an email. Tell me why you want to work with me, but check out the coaching first so you'll know the price and sort of how it goes. And then tell me why you want to hire me and I'll see if I can fit you in. I can only take in so many people a day anymore. So, and usually you see, the thing is, I don't want you to hire me and then I can't talk to you for 2 or 3 weeks. Like, I don't want to do that to you. So if I hire someone, I can probably talk to you in the next week. So I like to keep it a lean machine because people hire me. They're usually pretty desperate to get going. Right. So, okay, we'll start in 3 weeks. I don't want to do that. That's why I'm being very careful right now. Yeah. The link in my bio has everything in there. Everything I've got to offer is in there. What to do if I get mad with my kid, although I know I should be calm? You get mad because you don't know what else to do. That's all I'm teaching you. You can't be calm until you have a plan. I teach you planning. I teach you, check out the boot camp course. That's all about you and your leadership. I freaking love that course. That just came out. Oh, it's only been out for about maybe 8 months now. I love that course. I've been doing this for 17 years, and that's a culmination of how to pace it out, 17 years of experience dealing with coaching with parents. Now, I don't teach what I do. I teach what you need to learn. I teach you like step by step by step. By week 5, you might have a better understanding of what I do, but not week 1. So I have to get you there. I'm level 10 with what I teach, but anyway, I love that course because it's all paced out. I had a whole bunch of parents going through it with me, and they gave me all their feedback and helped me with it. But yeah, it's all about you and your leadership. That's it. I'm desperate for help before he starts preschool. Oh, well, the earlier the better. Except under the age of 3, they're kind of nuts anyway. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. God, I wish that was easier to say. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. I've got lots of videos on all that. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler. This is under the age of 3. When you want to connect with a toddler, do so in their world. They're not about words. They're not about discussing feelings, all that stuff. They're about playing. Play with them. Watch how they play and enter in. It's kid-led play. Number 4 is kind of similar. When you want to discipline a toddler, you do so in their world. They're not about words. These mini therapy sessions are ridiculous and so stupid. Anyway, they're about actions, consistent, corrective actions. They're watching you. They're not listening to you under the age of 3. They look like they are, but they're not taking it in. Number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are brand new, fresh human beings. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years, and one of those years you were a potato laying on a mattress. They're just forming. They're just crazy. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Can you figure that one out? To a toddler, that might make sense. Anyway, I got to go over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. If you want to join me on TikTok, it's Bratbusters Parenting. And anyway, I got to get going. Check out the link above for everything I've got in my business, and happy parenting. Done. Okay. YouTube. Okay. This one, I can't help you, Rochelle. Grandparents always butting in and disciplining different. They won't stick to things. When she comes home, her behavior is bad. I really can't help you with that. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't tell other people how to manage my kids. Because if I'm a leader, my kids are going to be good no matter where they go. No one else can derail them. Does that make sense? Yeah, if you trust people enough to look after your kids, don't micromanage them. Like I say, I'm a grandmother now, and my kids already know this. It's none of my business how they parent. But you drop your kids off with grandma's rules. Okay, because I'm not looking after kids with their rules. Why would I do that? It's grandma's rules. I would follow their rules with food and stuff like that, but you know what I mean, the behavior stuff. So yeah, set yourself up as a leader, and they're going to be respectful sort of wherever they are. That's the way it works. So yeah, don't micromanage other people. If you trust people enough to look after your kids, don't micromanage them. Some people go to school and tell teachers how to manage their kids in classrooms. I'm like, are you kidding me? How entitled. Oh, teachers hate that. So you want me to single out and be a different teacher with your child and your child and your child? I'm managing 30 kids here. Yeah, don't micromanage other people. My 1-year-old hits for everything when she plays or being corrected. Advice. I was gonna say I've got a course, toddlers who hit, etc. She's a bit young for that. She's only 1. You might want to check it out. It's one of my mini courses. It's toddlers who hit, bite, etc. But they're about consistent corrective actions. But under the age of about 16 months, yeah, you kind of use diversion too. So you might say no, and if she's hit and you take her hand, you say no, and then you might, if she keeps doing it, read her favorite book all by yourself, out loud. Don't look at her, out loud, and then hopefully she'll come over and sit in your lap and forget about hitting. But yeah, they're crazy when they're little. There's not much you can do. A lot of people ask me about picky eaters, and I really don't get into that because it's none of my business. Like, what I mean is, it's not my specialty. I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so I can't really talk about that. But I'll tell you what I did with my kids. Okay, I'm a health food nut. And what I would do is I did definitely cater to their taste buds. So there was never any friction at the dinner table. It was just, I knew what they liked to eat. And what I did though, is I snuck in, and we didn't have any junk food in the house. So it was all health food. There was no ice cream sitting in the freezer, and there was lots of cookies and stuff, but I made them all. I did everything from scratch. And it was mostly wheat germ, and it was all healthy stuff. So my kids I remember my son, the first time he ever had pizza outside of the home that I hadn't made from scratch, he said, "It was really weird, Mommy. The sauce was red because my sauce is brown because I puree spinach and throw it into my sauce." So I would sneak in healthy stuff into all their food. And they didn't even know it. You should see my cakes. They were like sawdust. They were healthy. And then they'd go out and if they went out to a birthday party or something, like, have at it, eat whatever you want. They always came home with stomach aches. Because if your system isn't used to that garbage, it doesn't sit well with you. Like, I can't eat junk. I would probably be sick. Because your system you build up a tolerance for garbage and that sort of stuff. But yeah, all that junk stuff. You have to build up tolerance to it. I didn't want them to do that. They were teenagers, then they started eating junk. Any advice on positive discipline? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know. Just keep following what I do. I don't use that term, positive discipline. Single parent here. My boy is 2. His dad walked out while I was pregnant. How do I explain to him? Boy is 2. Yeah. You'd have to hire me for that. And it's not, he's too little. Yeah, too little. It starts at 3. I would start discussing that. And also don't sweep things under the carpet. Secrets imply shame. Do you have any adjustments for kids on the spectrum? Yeah, I only discuss ADHD or autism, kids on the spectrum, in coaching. It's a specialty. Every child's so unique that I can't generalize it. So, and I only discuss that in coaching. Oh God, I shouldn't even read this because I have no answer for you. It's Megan on YouTube. Tips for breastfeeding moms on how to correct 3-year-old misbehaving while feeding other child. That's just difficult physically, but they're 3 years old. Start with, use my behavior board. And you say, when I'm breastfeeding, if you interrupt or you do anything to, whatever, if you do this, put a rule on the behavior board and start there. The behavior board's completely free. Check that out. But yeah, you're just, physically, it's just difficult when you're breastfeeding. That's my least favorite client to get. It's a mom who has a new baby and a toddler. That's my least favorite client to work with because what can I tell her? She's breastfeeding. She often is hormonal and emotional. And I get the least results with those clients. That's why it's my least favorite. I'm solution-based. I want to help you. I want to get you where you want to go. But at that point, it's like, well, what are you going to do? You've got a toddler racing around getting into stuff and you've got a kid hanging off your boob. My hands are kind of tied. So we talk a lot about the future. But yeah, right now it's just difficult. But yours is 3. They can go on the behavior board. It's different. Toddlers are under 3. Am I on TikTok? Yes, I am. Okay. Sometimes because I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm doing a live, but I go from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. One night I went Facebook, Instagram, I went back to Instagram. And then I just remembered I did go on Facebook. Okay, I have custody. Okay, so if you're the legal guardian, I can talk to you because I don't teach grandparenting. So I have custody of my 3 grandkids. The 7-year-old is defined at home and school. You might want to check out my boot camp course because you got 3 of them. Anyway, the boot camp course is all about you and your leadership. It's 5 weeks. You can pace it out, but do not rush it. You can lengthen it by a week or 2, but do not rush it. Do not make it 4 weeks. It has to be 5 weeks. You can check that out. Or at the very least, you can just check out the behavior board. That's completely free. Sometimes people try that just to see what this is all about, and then they'll hire me or they'll buy the bigger course. But that's totally up to you. Or you can just watch me here. Why do some kids like 4-year-olds hit? Okay, there are 4 things that kids, I don't know why I have to look at the list. I always forget one of them though. One of them, for some reason. There are 4 things that you're hardwired to do. You're either going to do them or you're never going to do them. And you do them when you're toddlers usually. You can be trained out of it, okay? But usually by about 3, it sort of gets better. 1 is hitting. Some kids will hit, some kids never will. The other one is climbing. They have no fear, they climb, it's dangerous. The other one is runners who take off on you in the street. They have no fear either. Often climbers and runners go together. Not always, but often. The last one is tantrums. So yeah, some kids are just hardwired to do it. Now, a lot of parents say, well, it is rotten kids. No, they're not. They just have these tendencies. The tantrum one will last the rest of your life. It's a temperament. It means you have a short fuse. That's what a tantrum a person who has a tantrum as a child will usually have a short fuse as an adult too. They can learn how to manage it, but it's just a temperament, right? The rest of them, they can outgrow or redirect in a healthy way. Like especially the climbing that, they might be gymnasts. This stuff might work in their favor, okay? So yeah, they're either born to do that or they're not. My kids, the only one they had was my son had tantrums. My daughter never had any of it, and he didn't have any of the rest. Doesn't mean they're better kids than anyone else. It's just the luck of the draw, right? I knew when he was inside me, he was going to have tantrums. Do you know how I knew? Anyway, I would push his foot. You know how they get a foot up in your solar plexus and you can't breathe? So I would push his foot back down. He would push back and squirm around. And I thought, oh, he's going to have tantrums. And he did. And my daughter, I would push back and she would pull her foot in and not move for ages. And I thought, oh, she's never going to have tantrums. She never did. So It's not always that easy to detect. I was quite surprised that I got that one right, but anyway. So the personalities are already, they're in you. They're already there. They're already forming. I've got a little granddaughter now, and she's just 6 weeks old. And it's fun to watch her personality start to develop because that's when you start to see it. About 6 weeks old, you'll start to see it come out. But yeah, it's fun to watch. She's darling. Okay. When you say no, when they slam the door or hit, do you ignore a disciplined 3-year-old boy? You don't, at that age, you, 3-year-old boy. There's just so many different ways I could go about this one. Okay, just put it on the behavior board and you put down no hitting or no getting violent. And then you could put in brackets, that means hitting, slamming doors. So there's no hitting or slamming doors. Don't say when you have a tantrum. Don't put that in. Because that's attitude. You don't put attitude on the board. You just put physical stuff like actions. So then every time he does, there's a consequence. So yeah, put it on the behavior board. Okay, my 2-year-old son is hitting me more and more every day. How do I handle it? I have a mini toddler course on toddlers who hit, bite, etc. Check that out. It goes into detail about how you deal with it. Those are just mini niche courses. They're not huge courses, like they don't have tons of stuff in it. They're just niche. Every single one of those niche courses, except the potty training one, was gigantic when I first put it out there. And then I edited and cut it, and I just put in there what you need to hear. So they're just little mini niche courses. But you master one of those courses and you're sort of taking control of that specific behavior, you sort of start to get your leadership skills going. What do I do when my 3-year-old says no to everything? He says, no, I don't want to go to daycare. Yeah, he doesn't want to go anywhere. Just make it happen anyway. If he says no, say whatever, where it's happening. Like, I wouldn't argue it. He's saying no because you're getting into conversations with him about it, guaranteed. Okay, you're answering him. But you have to go because of this. There's no way I would say that. There's no way. Okay, off to daycare. No. Well, here we go. We're going. Like, I would never defend myself. Never. He already understands he's got to go to daycare. Don't explain it. He's pulling you in. Guaranteed you're getting into conversations about it. You're explaining yourself. Don't do that. So you say what's happening and then you take action. Yeah, he throws a tantrum. Okay. At 3 years old, there's a fork in the road. If you're kind of already a leader, at 3, they can stop and think, oh, you're a leader, and then they get easier at 3. They're not the crazy toddlers anymore. They get easier. If you're a pleaser or a non-leader, they go the other way. They find their power, they get difficult. It's 3, it's a fork in the road. If you're a leader, and there's some exercise, there's some leadership skills with toddlers too, okay? Because that's what I talk about, how you deal with toddlers, right? Ignoring tantrums is a big one. So they either get easier or more difficult, and it's all you. It's not about them. It's all about you. They're reacting to your parenting. Not under the age of 3. They're just nuts. 3 to 12 years old, all of their behavior is a direct result of your parenting. All of it. Their basic personality or nature, you don't want to fool with that. But how they treat people, if they respect themselves and others, that's you. So yeah. Pre-behavior board hasn't come. I'm signing up wrong. It'll get there eventually. It might take 10 or 20 minutes. I ignore all those emails. But yeah, it's not an instant delivery system. It's like a third-party delivery system. I don't know how it works, but yeah. Because I'll do that. I'll sign up for something in business or whatever, and then I didn't get it. Now I know. I just wait. Because most things are instant these days, right? What time is it? Okay, I have to get going soon. But anyway, how to deal with 3.5-year-old that completely changes when dad gets home, like uncontrollable chaos. I don't know why. When you say uncontrollable chaos, do you mean naughty behavior or just wild because they're excited that dad's home? I don't know which one that is. So, Or is dad the pleaser? Now, usually in a family, there's a leader and a pleaser. My mom was the leader, my dad was the pleaser, but here's how it should go. I was the leader, my ex-husband was the pleaser. It works beautifully, but here's why. If this is how it can work really beautifully and how it can completely tank. Maybe this is what's happening. If you're the leader, the pleaser has to defer to you. An example of that with my parents was I knew my dad was a pleaser. In other words, he spoiled me. He'd do whatever I wanted. So I said, Daddy, can I please have this? And he'd go, sure, sweetie pie. And then he'd say, let's check with mom first. I go, oh, never mind. So they were a team. You don't have to be the same. You have to be a team, though. And then with my ex-husband, he used to say, well, you know, our son was the older one. He said, our son, he said he was pushing me around or whatever. I said, what should I do? And I said, just say, do you want me to tell mom? And that was all it took. So the pleaser has to defer to the leader. And just, you know, they still love you both the same, but it's that leader. They only need one leader. There usually is one leader and one pleaser in the family. There's never an authority and a leader in a family. Don't ask me why. It just doesn't. It's oil and vinegar. It just doesn't work. I'm going to answer this, and I'm going to tell you I don't know. What is the appropriate age to give a child a phone? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. There's no study out there that says, oh, 12 and a half. Nobody knows. You just have to use your own judgment, okay? I've got a lot of opinions on that, but I don't discuss my opinions. I only discuss my advice. There's a difference, big difference between the two. In coaching, I'm more likely to talk about opinions. But on here, it's different because I get to know clients and what opinions I think that they might benefit from. But on here, it's just a solid advice through experience. 52 years of working with kids, solid advice. That's an opinion. I don't discuss that. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. It's got everything that I've got in there, my coaching, my courses, the free behavior board. Check it out. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy parenting. Bye now.